morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the Big Book Roundtable in the RICO 12 family of recovery resources. Grateful to be here with Nikki and David and just dive into the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I am Justin B. I am a child of an all-powerful and all-loving God and a multidisciplinary a multidisciplinary addict striving to be in action in recovery. And I'm grateful to be joined, like I said, by Nikki M. and David G. The three of us are striving to live in the miracle of recovery one day at a time, and just it's an amazing fellowship and connection we have around this roundtable. So, Nikki, why don't you take a second and say hello and tell us a little bit about what's going on in your life?
Well, hi, everybody. And my big book on XIII says when speaking publicly about alcoholism, I'm to omit my personal name, which is I'm Nikki M, just an M, and I'm to designate myself as a member. And I'm going to put a grateful member. And what's going on is that, we're going to take a little hiatus here because it's the holidays coming up. And it's our little last recording for a moment. And I'm just going to go deep with God. I'm not isolating. I'm in solitude. I'm really trying to discover. Hey, everybody, if you're here and you're like, this is kindergarten. Okay, I want to get into first grade here. I want to really dive a little deeper when I'm not with you guys. So I'm seeking God. I'm in the desperation of a drowning person at this point in my life, and I'm grateful for it.
Thank you, Nikki, and we're grateful that you're joining with us as we trudge this road of happy destiny. David, why don't you come off and tell us a little bit about what's going on in your life?
Yeah, absolutely, Justin, Nikki, so good to be here with you always. I'm David G. I'm alcoholic and addict, recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind by the grace of God, in a wonderful fellowship of lots and lots of people. I'm just so blessed. And man, I'm telling you, I'm just having the time of my life. I'm having a new experience. It continues happening. I'm really digging in deep with this book and sharing it with other people. My wife retired as of last Friday for the second time in her life. She's home now. We're having a wonderful time. Our book says, if circumstances warrant, we ask our wives to join us in meditation. I've done that now every morning. We're doing two-way prayer, and I'm just lapping it up like a dog. It's just good stuff. So thank you.
Love hearing those miracles and fruits of recovery, David. That's awesome. Congratulations to your wife for retiring, and I wish you both the best in spending all this time together. That's amazing. All right. Today we are going to continue in chapter 6 in the second portion of our reading of chapter 6 on pages 73 into the first part of 74. We're going to start where we left off last time. The paragraph we'll start with is that first full paragraph on 73, more than most people. And we will read through the paragraph on page 74 that ends with who do not understand alcoholics there at the top of 74. And then we're going to talk about this and dive deep into it. All right, here's the reading. More than most people, the alcoholic leads a double life. He is very much the actor. To the outer world, he presents his stage character. This is the one he likes his fellows to see. He wants to enjoy a certain reputation, but knows in his heart he doesn't deserve it. The inconsistency is made worse by the things he does on his sprees. Coming to his senses, he is revolted at certain episodes he vaguely remembers. These memories are a nightmare. He trembles to think someone might have observed him. As fast as he can, he pushes these memories far inside him. He hopes they will never see the light of day. He is under constant fear and tension. That makes for more drinking. Psychologists are inclined to agree with us. We have spent thousands of dollars for examinations. We know but few instances where we have given these doctors a fair break. We have seldom told them the whole truth, nor have we followed their advice. Unwilling to be honest with these sympathetic men, we were honest with no one else. Small wonder many in the medical profession have a low opinion of alcoholics and their chance for recovery. We must be entirely honest with somebody if we expect to live long or happily in this world. Rightly and naturally, we think well before we choose the person or persons with whom to take this intimate and confidential step. Those of us belonging to a religious denomination which requires confession must, and of course will want, to go to the properly appointed authority whose duty it is to receive it. Though we have no religious connection, we may still do well to talk with someone ordained by an established religion. We often find such a person quick to see and understand our problem. Of course, we sometimes encounter people who do not understand alcoholics. All right, so let's pause there and go through these paragraphs here. There were a couple things that jumped out at me, but I'm going to have Nikki lead us into this conversation today. Go ahead, Nikki. Let us know what you think about what we've read.
Wow. Well, this book is me. I'm the addict who leads a double life. And I want people to remember that's sober. You know, a lot of this time it's sober. I also want to say a lot of people like me because I don't hide it too much. Like on our last episode, I tell you what ailments and things are still, eating at my soul. I have a weekly noodle meeting and I can't miss it. The title of the meeting is called Noodle with Nikki. So it's hard for me to miss the meeting that I'm on. And I have to show up in good and bad times. So my double life is not hidden much in these rooms. Where it's hidden is out in the outer world, right? My actor. And we read about this, the double life, the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, the actor who wants to run the entire show, sometimes very virtuous and kind, and sometimes a super freak. That's me. Okay. And we read it. We read it on page 417. A lot of us love that page. And it's like, William Shakespeare says the entire world's a stage and we're all actors. Like this is a matrix I'm living in. And I want you guys all to think I'm so great. And I'm very blessed in this program because you guys allow me to be my real authentic self. So a lot of you, and I know that's why you like me, because I'm constantly messing up and talking about it. I'm not hiding it from people. I'm actually probably too much. I probably should get a little more quiet because I really don't care about my reputation in these rooms. I don't know where that comes from, where I've kind of been free to be who I am. Now it hurts because some rooms I don't even qualify to be in and they don't want me in there. But I know that the book tells me I have to go into all kinds of sordid places. And a lot of my friends are dying on sex, love, codependency. And I have to go into the rooms of Cocaine Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, and AA. I sponsor a lot of dry drunks in there. Okay, so the inconsistency is made worse. And what's this inconsistency is that I'm not living a straight and honest lifestyle. I'm inconsistent. And this happened to me recently. I'm revolted. And I don't just vaguely remember. I remember what I said and did most recently to the man I love. And this memory is a nightmare right now. Now, I know my book, and we're going to read a little further ahead that my past is my greatest asset, that it's actually every experience that I've had right up into this moment, 51 years on the planet, is going to help somebody. See, I believe my book. So even though this nightmare that's happened, I know it's a gift. It is the gift of desperation, actually, that I'm in right now. So I'm grateful. I need to be healed from these memories. Normally, I'll just sweep over it. But someone recently told me to do some shadow work. Someone recently, and when I hear this stuff, I'm like, oh, save that for your therapist, everybody. Save that inner child crap. But I'm realizing now, because I'm keeping an open mind, I'm being honest, I need to do some of this work they're talking about deeper rather than just being a robot and going, my past is my greatest asset. My past is my greatest asset. I need to know why it is and how this all works. Next paragraph where they talk about psychologists and thousands of dollars for examinations. My line out, I'm beyond human aid. See, I've been to the Center for Mental Health and Addictions in my city. I've been to every doctor. I've been diagnosed with so many things. I have a soul sickness. Nothing's going to help me. This book was written a long time ago. And I never tell the whole truth to these doctors. When my doctor's like, what's your number count, Nikki? You think I told my doctor what my number count is? You think I'm telling my doctor in 1992 that I'm spinning around a pole spread eagle for strangers on a stage? I'm not telling my doctor all these things. So no, I'm not getting honest. I'm unwilling to be honest. And that's why I love the rooms, because this is where I can be entirely honest. I must. When I see the word must, I circle it. I must be entirely honest, no half measures, with somebody. Above somebody, I put Big Book sponsor, BBS or PAA, properly appointed authority, because page 74, I want to live long. And I want to live happily in this world. See, I want to be in this world, rightly and naturally. Here it is. Are you thinking well before you choose the person or persons with whom to take this intimate, into you, I see me, confidential? You better be quiet. They better be able to keep their mouth shut, Nikki. And hey, everybody, don't do a fist step at a meeting. See, the rooms aren't safe. I know a guy, he's saying that he's sleeping about his, not just his porn habits, his acting out behavior with minors. No one's going to speak to this guy. Everyone's going to run from him. I'm going to speak to him because I understand he's in the grip of a progressive illness. Nobody chooses this. So he has to think very well. Don't do your fist step in a meeting, everybody. Think well. I didn't do that. And I said it on the last episode. I was in an emotional blackout and I didn't think well before I picked up the phone and called someone from Europe. And 10 hours later, I was on a flight home, where I would have probably been better sitting in a hotel room for the next 10 days. Anyway, and those of us belonging to a religious denomination, I do have a pastor. I have a lot of religious people in my life. Spiritual people. I don't need, and I'm sure Dave's going to talk about it, sometimes my sponsor's not the person I want to go to. It's an issue he can't even deal with. And so I need to make sure I go to the properly appointed authority, the PAA, the properly appointed authority. It's their duty to receive it. If I robbed a bank, that is not my sponsor's duty to. That's a lawyer. You understand, this goes real deep. I'll end here because I don't want to hog up the whole thing. But of course, we sometimes encounter people who do not understand, not just an alcoholic, but they don't understand the disease of alcoholism. They don't understand this disease of self, even in the rooms. Come through, David and Justin. I want to hear you.
Thank you, Nikki. And I've got a question for you, but we'll get to that here in a few minutes. David, walk us through what we just read here and some of the things that you'd like to point out to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Nikki, thank you so much for your share. I love you, girl. More than most, not all, but most people, we lead a double life. And I love what Nikki said, even in recovery, sobriety, because that's exactly what I did for many, many years. I led a double life. The bad part is I thought it was me. Come to find out, I found out that it was something that was driving me. I was taking the actions, but it was based on a system of thought that was, I didn't even really know about. Look at the next short sentence. He's very much the actor. Yeah, he, not me. Remember 60 to 61? We really looked at that close. Who in the hell is the he then if it's not me? Well, the book talks about self-centeredness. So to the outer world, I'm the one taking the actions here. This is the one that he likes his fellows to see. But this system of thought really wants me to enjoy a certain reputation, even though I really don't deserve it. In my heart, I know that. And I knew that for many years. I was a circuit speaker, and I still am to some degree, but nothing like then. The last time that I went, it was and spoke at a conference not too long ago. It was just an amazing experience. Man, I've had calls from everywhere to come speak since then. Turn a lot of them down. It's just like, it just really doesn't matter anymore. I've got other people that can do this. And man, I'm just so grateful not to be in this system of thought anymore. And the only way that we can wake up from that is to do what's outlined in this book, not hold secrets anymore. Get honest with somebody. You don't have to get honest with every damn body. Like Nikki's saying, don't do that inside of a meeting. I've done that in the past, and it is not good. People don't hold their tongues, and some of those things, what's the impression that we're giving newcomers when we're sitting in there telling that kind of stuff, my God, you're 25 years sober and this is what I've got to look forward to, No, this is meant for a person, We admitted to God ourselves and another human being, not a fellowship of other human beings. So the inconsistencies made worse by the things that he does on his spree. I'm more interested in what has drove me to do those things that I do on my sprees. What even brought me to the spree to begin with? He's revolted. I love what this says. At certain episodes, he vaguely remembers. Now, I know this is talking about drunkenness, but hell, there's drunkenness in a whole lot of ways. You don't have to drink alcohol to be drunk. Trust me. I know. But he trembles. See how here's one of the soldiers of self. Here's fear. He trembles to think someone might have observed him. That's fear. As fast as he can, he pushes the memories far inside of himself. Here's secrets. Now, notice how these are the things that are leading up to our beating that we're taking here. He hopes that they will never see the light of day. Why? Because I don't want you to see me for who I really am. I'm selfish and I'm dishonest and I'm unloving. And I don't want you to see any of that. I want you to know that I'm sober all these years and I'm telling you all these wonderful things based on yesterday's experience, but I'm dying today because I haven't had a new one in all these years. He's under constant fear and tension. There it is again. See the fear? See the selfishness? That makes for more drinking. See the selfishness there? So now this next part makes sense. Psychologists are inclined to agree with us. We spent thousands of dollars. We know a few instances where we've given them a fair break. Why? Because we've seldom told them the whole truth. And the biggest reason is because, hell, I don't know it. Not at this point in the book, anyway. I can't tell you the truth about I can tell you the truth about some of the events and the actions that I've taken, but I can't tell you the truth of why I do that. And chances are he's probably not going to be able to do that either. He'll give me some textbook shit or some medication to make me feel a little better, but I can promise you that my God's not in that pill. Yours might be, mine's not. So, and another reason is I don't follow their advice. Why would I? Hell, I'm afraid. So I'm willing to be honest. And if I'm unwilling to be honest, then I'm dishonest. See how these are the things that this is what's kicking our butt. So we're honest with no one else. Small wonder why many in the medical profession or people who are really working this program of Alcoholics Anonymous have low opinion of our recovery, not of the alcoholic, but of their recovery. An example of that was Roland Hazard back that we looked at before. So we must be entirely honest if we expect to live long and happily. And the only way that I've ever been able to do that is through the first 4 steps of the 12, as outlined in the book Alcoholics Anonymous, and then come into this. I'd never really seen the truth until it come off of my pen through prayer and writing a 4-step inventory. I never really heard the truth like I did until it came out of my mouth when I was sitting here discussing it with God and another man. But I'm going to have to do that if I want to live long and very happily. So here is what's going to begin the qualification of this man. We think well before we choose the person or persons. Now, I have done this with more than one person. On a couple of different occasions, I've sat with 2 or 3 different people and read the 5th step, but it was people that I trusted, people that I knew, and people that I knew would tell me the truth. So belonging to a religious denomination, I didn't back then. I do now. It doesn't require confession. But, I have people that I absolutely would trust to talk about with these things today. The properly appointed authority, that can be one of many, as long as they've done this work. I'm not going to go talk to some man that's got years and years of sobriety just because he's got years and years of sobriety. If he's not done the work as outlined in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, I don't give a damn how much sobriety he's got. It means nothing to me. I'm grateful for him, but I'm not bearing my life to something like that. So, and we want to find somebody who understands. That's going to be one of the first qualifications right there of this man. He must understand not just alcoholics, but the behavior of the alcoholic while he's sober and he's sick and he's doing these things inside of the fellowship. So that's going to be the very first of many. Next, he's going to have to be closed mouth. He's going to have to be able to understand yet be unaffected. He's going to have to be able to keep in a confidence. He's going to have to be able to fully understand and approve. He's going to have to not try to change my plan. he's going to have to realize that it's a life and a death. I mean, it goes on and on. This book is just full of the things that what we need to look for in the man. Doesn't matter how long he's sober, but in the man that's about to hear what I'm about to tell. And so my sponsor told me this. He said, I'm not here to judge you, and I'm not here to critique you. I'm here to bear witness, period. Nothing else. And that's what he did. He bore witness to the truth that I told. When he seen that I was getting off track with that, he'd pull me back. Is that true? Is that true? Is that true? And 9 times out of 10, no, that's not true. And I didn't even see it, but now I do. So, yeah, it's a miraculous step and a lot of freedom here. Bill Wilson said it in this way, and I'll shut up. He said, I felt as though the great clean wind of a mountaintop blew through and through. That's a 5th step experience right there. So thank you, guys. Glad to be here.
Thank you, David. I've got a couple questions for you each. We'll start off with Nikki. So, Nikki, you talked about diving into the past, and you referenced like a shadow work, inner child work, so on and so forth here. Why are you finding it important to dive into the past so that it can be your greatest asset?
Oh, and Justin, thank you so much. I want to say, like, you're such a good interviewer. You really listen to detail. Like, you could be a trusted servant. I could tell anything too. I just want you to know that you're the properly appointed authority because you're a good listener and you care and you hear details. So this is all new to me. If anyone's listening, I've been here and I would have poo-pooed any of this. It's like, no, I don't believe in any of this. And most recently with this last episode I had of an emotional meltdown, my boyfriend brought it up. And he's not one of us, but he's in the spirit world. And then more people, someone will say something to you and then other people will say it, or you'll see a red car and then there's 5 million red cars on the street. It's one of these things. And why is it important? Because I was just lip serving, and it's exactly what David talks about. Like, you're in the rooms and you're just repeating the book. My past is my greatest asset. It's going to help someone. I was getting very robotic with this. Why do I need to believe that my past is my greatest asset? That's why. And so what does that look like? So going deeper and even having like energies removed and David, you probably know from, you do a lot of native ceremonies. I mean, there's lineages. I wish I had some of the prayers I have that when we pray it, we're literally asking for our lineages to be healed. No one's good. Like, when I say this, no one likes to hear it, but I come from a generation of bastards. Okay. My grandmother was not married. So she was a bastard. She was adopted, or her parents weren't married. My grandmother was, well, obviously a love addict because it was an affair with my grandfather. So my mom is a bastard. I'm a bastard. I'm a love child from the 70s. My mom's a white woman. My dad's a black man. They couldn't even eat in a building in Toronto. Total. And then my daughter even, her daddy's my high school sweetheart. We weren't married. So if you want to get into the terms, so I'm trying to clear this lineage. I'm trying to clear this past so my daughter doesn't have to enter into that world either. So I didn't, my past is my greatest asset. Yes, that's absolutely true. Page 86 says, you must not.
I think we lost Nikki there for a minute, but Nikki, I'm going to comment here as you're frozen, but yeah, this is powerful things that you shared about diving into the past. So I appreciate that. David, let's go to you. And the question I have for you is about seeing the truth coming off of your pen. You talked about that, and I loved that imagery, seeing the truth come off of your pen for the first time. How surprising can that be to have that realization of the truth coming off your pen for the first time?
I tell you, it's very amazing.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yep, we got you, Nikki. I'll come back to you here in a minute. I've got David. I just asked David a question, and we'll go from there. No worries.
Yeah, it's very amazing because, anytime that I'd ever sat down to write inventory, I just said a prayer and went to writing. I didn't really take time to pray and meditate on the things that I was being asked to write. So it's very amazing. I love how Nikki talked about the inner child as well. For years I just thought that was the dumbest crap ever. But I tell you that I had a very powerful experience with all of that, and and I'm able to teach that to other people now through my experience. But to come back to your question, it's amazing because see, Bill didn't write the big book. The Spirit wrote the book. Bill held the pen. The prophets, they didn't write the Bible. The Spirit wrote it. They held the pen. And we get to do the exact same thing here. But if we're not connected, then there's something else that's going to be right. And it's self. And I've written many inventories that self wrote. Through this process, it's absolutely amazing. So, what I see come off of that, I know absolutely in my heart there's no way I would have thought that at all. In fact, I just wrote something here recently, and it was in the conduct inventory, and it had to do with my wife. And what I seen come off the end of that pen was absolutely amazing. I'm grateful to share that at some point in time. But man, I tell you, it's just amazing that I seen what led up to all the things that happened and how God has blessed that relationship and brought it back into wholeness. It's just a beautiful thing. So I hope that answers the question, Justin. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I just love that idea. And this is going to be my takeaway here. And I'll lead us off with the takeaway. One of the more powerful quotes I've heard was something that Mother Teresa said when she was being interviewed. Someone said, "Hey, you're doing amazing work. You should be praised for generations for the work you're doing." And her answer to this reporter was, she picked up a pencil and she says, "I'm only a pencil in God's hands." And whatever comes out from that pencil is God doing the work. That's the Spirit doing the work. And that's a powerful takeaway for me. And if I'm writing my inventory, allowing, leading into it with the third step prayer, "Hey, God, lead this. I give myself to you," whatever that may look like, and write it for me. I think that's a powerful idea. Nikki, what's a takeaway you had from our conversation today?
Well, let me think, because I'm discombobulated with the internet that doesn't work. So I can't believe that there's a man on the moon. And I want to say that our thought life, this is my takeaway, because guess who called me? Why I just kind of got bumped up was the person I've been talking about who's given me the bad advice. And she just called. You understand? So it's like, I guess my takeaway is not just that we're the pen, our thoughts before we even become the pen. I was talking with you guys the last hour. We've been talking about the properly appointed authority. And this woman just called, totally discombobulated again, not just my life, but this podcast. And I'm excited, okay, about God, this power. Like, you can't write this. This is not a movie. This is like God's script. And there it is. Nothing happens in God's world by mistake. I'm just so grateful to be here. And if you're listening, thank you, everybody, for just being part of this family.
Thank you, Nikki. Grateful to have you here. And yeah, internet stuff happens from time to time, and grateful that we got the meat of your conversation in on that. David, what's a takeaway for you from our conversation today?
Well, as always, first, I'd just like to say thank you, Justin, for your service. Thank you, Nikki, for being here. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of this. To all of our listeners out there, thank you guys each and every week for tuning in. I just get tons of emails and people that call me wanting to do this work. And it's just a great blessing that continues the widening circle. But as far as the takeaway today, just be careful who you talk to, especially inside of the fellowship. Not everybody has done this work and had this experience and knows how to keep their mouth shut. I've said things at times that I wish I could have went back and erased, like deleted a text or something like that, but it was too late. Once I slung that arrow, it was gone. And so, you just really, really need to be careful who you talk to. Our book tells us who it is, who they are, how we do it. My advice is follow the letter to the book, and you'll be okay. So thank you, brother.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Nikki. And I think I'm going to close this conversation up a little bit differently than I typically do as I send out an invitation to people. If you have felt something touch your heart from this conversation, that I want to invite you to recognize is your higher power saying, hey, whatever your name is, here's something that you need to take action on. And I invite you to get into action with that. Take action on it. Don't just sit around and think, oh, that was a good idea. Because if I don't take action on those thoughts that I have, it's not going to do me or anybody else any good. And what is our role here? It's to be servants. It's to help others. And when higher power says, hey, take action on this, it is going to help others in the end. Come join with us in this fellowship of the Spirit and trudge this adventurous and amazing road of happy destiny with us. Work it. You are worth it.